Hi everyone, I'm Gabriel. Today I'm going to be persuading you that the solution to our problems starts with public transit. Our planet's health, our own health, and our safety, and our wallet and financials, they're all greatly improved upon when we introduce public transit into our lives. And it just serves us to make this small change that makes our own lives easier. I found the statistic through the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety that let me know that a study says that on average, we spend an hour a day driving our own personal vehicle. So even if you don't have a vehicle, that's the average of everybody. I feel like it's such a waste of the 24-hour day, and I say that as someone who's driven for definitely longer than that throughout some days. But recently, I've been an avid user of carpooling, biking, walking, and even like riding the bus or the train. And I've also done extensive research to supplement you with the facts that will show you that public transit has a lot of benefits and you should use it. So, just to jump off of that last statistic about spending an hour a day driving, you might be asking yourself, what problems is public transit solving for me? Well, in my opinion, we live in a city that is very urban. It's very car centric. There's freeways all around us. Even on the way to my job, like I'm literally right off the freeway. I see so many different people, and I work at the drive-through. Like cars are just part of our entire life. We're so car dependent on our own personal cars, and public transit can help us decentralize ourselves. Less vehicles on the road means more fun to be had. It's just more sustainable, it's more affordable for you, and as individuals, we have so little we can do to contribute to a better society. This is just one thing we can do to do that. So, moving on to the environmental damages that driving our own car does. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, just one person driving their car throughout the year contributes around 4.5 tons of carbon dioxide gas emissions. Just to convert that to pounds because that's what we're more familiar with. I did the math. It's actually 9,000 pounds, and just driving one and burning 1 gallon of gas will burn or will contribute 20 pounds to that big 9,020 that would equal the 4.5 tons. So it's a minuscule number per gallon. If you're not driving a lot, it doesn't make a lot of difference. But if you're driving throughout the year, you're gonna hit somewhere around that number, and it could be more, it could be less. And if your car uses diesel like some trucks do, you're actually contributing more than that. We live here on our earth, we have to do our part, and even just sitting in traffic, a study done by Mark Buchanan, published on Nature Physics, says that over 20% of our emissions comes from cars just sitting in traffic. That means on the freeway, if you're sitting on a congested road, and where I live in Riverside, they're super congested. When you're over there by UCR and RCC, super congested, especially earlier throughout the day because they don't have any like parking that's free on the street over there. I feel like we can just do better, not just for Earth, but for ourselves. So speaking ourselves, it's great to bring our health and safety to the forefront. Did you know that the United States has the highest road traffic fatality rate of any high-income nation? I didn't. The rate of car deaths is actually like 50 times that of buses. So that means anybody getting in car accidents or dying to a car, it's 50 times more likely that it happens in a personal car vehicle than on a bus. 20 times more likely that it'll happen to you in a car than on a train, and it's actually 1,000 times more likely that it'll happen to you in a car than on a plane, which is crazy to me because I feel like, especially in America, we have a preconceived notion of things going wrong with planes, which may not be true for everybody, but I'm deathly afraid of flying, but I get into a car with no concerns. But to continue on, when I think of cars and accidents like that, I just think of money out of pocket, and that's a great transition to our next topic. So the money we save is actually a really great convincer. I know a lot of people who use Uber, Lyft, other rideshare apps, and they do it because A, they're adverse to taking their bus, they don't have their own car, they don't want to walk, but public transit is a great solution to that. Public transit saves people an average of 13,000 a year according to the American Transit Association. The public transit price has stayed consistent, and throughout the summer It's been even cheaper if you're an RCC student or if you're enrolled in our district in Moreno Valley or Norco College. You actually can get the bus pass for free. So you can take the bus for free. Um, I'm not sure about all of the rules, but I've had no problems going back and forth when I've used it. In contrast to the price of public transit, which currently is 25 cents until the end of August, rideshare has risen by almost 10% according to the LA Times year after year. So that includes like throughout COVID, it's been about an 8% increase, and it was 8% this last year from 2024 to 2025. So if you're like me, you're sold. So you're wondering, what do we do? All you got to do is utilize public transit. It's right there for you. You walk outside, walk a couple feet, or even if you're driving around, you'll see a bus stop. You might even see the metro if you come by La Sierra. You just got to ride somewhere you'd like to be. It takes a quarter, it takes your bus pass, you can get a card. One trip a week is all I'm asking you to try out. It'll help you reduce emissions, and you'll feel good after riding the bus. You'll be like, oh, this is not so bad. I know that there's some kind of prejudice attached to it because it's public transit. You might think it looks cheap, but you could be the one to change that. You could bring your look onto the bus. There's less risk of heat stroke during the summer because you're not walking or biking or driving in your car that's metal and absorbing all that heat. And the world's your oyster. There's literally a bus to anywhere in the entirety of Riverside County. Continuing on, I just want you to think about all the possibilities. You can see in the top left, she's on the phone, she's doing some work. Public transit, our buses actually have Wi Fi. You could sleep, you could read a book, you could watch TikToks on your phone on the way to and from work. Possibilities are genuinely endless. And I know it might sound like I'm trying to convince you, but I want to speak from a little bit of my own personal experience. So I actually moved down to Riverside from Eastvale. This is a picture of me maybe 3 or 4 years ago with my first car. It was named Sage because it was a sage green Honda CR-V from 2001. It was actually made before me during my birthday month, so it's almost the same age as me, even though it doesn't exist anymore. It didn't pass the smog check, so I was actually part of the problem, contributing to emissions, and so my car wasn't allowed on the road anymore and actually broke down, and it was too expensive for me to fix. But buses, carpooling, biking, those things were my saving grace. But I would always pop a tire on my bike. I had such horrible luck, and I can't walk 2 hours to work every day. It was just unrealistic. The buses are always there, so I'm just giving you a little story. They're there. I take them to school now, I take them to work now, and I know it can be scary for the first time, but the Riverside Transportation Association actually has a YouTube video on how to ride the bus for the first time, and it's not as scary as you think. So we're at the end of my presentation, but I just want to say that public transit is actually meant to take financial stress off of us, and it's meant to make life a little more convenient. But in order to have it always accessible, we have to use it to make sure it's funded and accessible for the moments where things go wrong, like in my case, where my car broke down, or you don't have $40 to take an Uber or a Lyft to and from point A and point B. So I'm just encouraging you to explore your local routes and ride public transit. For me, the line is the number one line. You can see UCR to Corona, and that goes all the way to my job, all the way to my school, all the way back home. And it runs so late and so early. Like I've stated, money matters, our environment matters, and our health and safety matters. So when we can make a change that promotes all three of these, we should. It's not a big commitment. It's a when you can commitment. You don't have to be like me where you're on the bus daily and, taking it everywhere. Like I sometimes I feel like I'm exploiting the bus system, but it's not about that. It's just about convenience, and the bus is always going to be there for you. Our world sometimes moves faster than public transit does, but when you're not in a hurry, I suggest you consider it. And again, I do want to reiterate that for the rest of August, bus rides are only 25 cents, and you get them for free. So there's literally nothing stopping you from trying it. Thank you.